Hello and welcome back to the latest CraftySniper's airsoft blog videos. Now, previously I asked on my Facebook page what you guys thought about drones in airsoft. Now, I don't mean drones as in cameras, not for the media side of it, but an actual active weapon system of a drone that can deploy munitions. So let's delve into a little bit of history here. Obviously, 21st century, real steel warfare. Drones are part and parcel now of the military forces. They're capable of doing surveillance and reconnaissance, all the way up to deploying munitions very accurately, thousands and thousands of feet up in the air. And like I say, they're part and parcel of the armed forces of pretty much all the major countries of the world. So in airsoft, obviously in milsim events I should say, they do aim to make the match as realistic as you possibly can make it, with rules and regulations and governments and parties, third parties involved in the match. Now, a drone could in theory be used to drop munitions. Now, I asked this question, is it a good idea? Because I actually watched a video on YouTube of a drone operator who had created an ability for his drone to deploy a foam dart. It was basically, you have to use your imagination on this. The drone is X amount of hundreds of meters up in the sky, flies over the site, over the battlefield, and at any given moment, whoever has control of the drone, whichever force it belongs to, can deploy the weapon on the drone. And if the drone drops the foam dart and it lands, obviously, at some point, anybody within a 50 metre, 100 metre, whatever it is, range of that dart is dead. It's a form of ordnance landing and obviously causing fatalities and injuries amongst the team. Henceforth, a little bit like real steel drones and how they deploy laser-guided munitions. Obviously, this is airsoft. We don't have real steel weapons. We don't have access to real steel drones. So we have the drones that we see nowadays that annoy a lot of people that have cameras on them. And whether a drone's very good at using it for photography purposes or video purposes, that's probably for another question. But is it, or would it be any good at deploying a weapon system and being an active combatant in the sport, in a match, in a milsim event or a standard skirmish event? Now, me personally, and this kind of really, my opinion kind of shares a lot of what other people think as well, if a weapon system, no matter what it is an active combatant, an active part of an event, then it is subject to being shot down in this case. Now, I know obviously airsoft guns are, it's going to be quite difficult. If a drone is 150, 200 metres up in the sky, there ain't many rifles that are going to reach it for a start. But if you was on a building, for instance, a multi-storey building, you're suddenly a lot higher and you might become a little bit more in the range of the drone. Would you be able to shoot at this person's drone? Now, me personally, like I say, if it's an active combatant, it's deploying munitions or it's being used as a reconnaissance tool, then yeah, shoot at it, by all means. I personally, I don't own any drones, but if I did own a drone, I wouldn't want it getting shot at. If I was to use a drone, it would just be for media purposes, which means it can just take photos, do video, all that kind of stuff, and therefore cannot be shot down because it is not giving an advantage to one of the teams over another team. But yeah, it's starting to come into it now that in airsoft that people are actually creating these drones or creating these ways, these wonderful ways of getting information, communicating with other team members. It's nowadays, it's not just using a radio. There's an app, I think, American, is it Spartan 11GW or whatever his name is, he's created an app which squads can have put on their phones, and it relays the position of that squad leader, henceforth then the squad, to his base, who know exactly where he is on the map, and that is a form of what real steel units have to do, because they have to report back and communications and all that kind of stuff to their leadership. So yeah, the question is to you guys: do you think an active a drone with an active role in an airsoft match is a good idea or a bad idea? Would you be happy to go to an airsoft match knowing that one of the teams has brought a £300 and probably more expensive than that drone that could deploy a weapon of some description, say a foam dart, that will be classed as an artillery strike or a laser-guided weapon dropped onto a position, and you would be happy to acknowledge the fact that you're dead because that drone dropped it and you're within, I don't know, 50 metres of that foam dart? Me personally, no, I wouldn't be. I don't think this is... I think it's one of those things in airsoft you don't need. I haven't done a milsim event. I will hold my hands up. I have not done a milsim event. I've not done the uber realistic. The closest thing I got to was some of the matches that Lincolnshire Airsoft Club used to do, the Tachival series of matches, which could be loosely described as a milsim event. They have governments to deal with. They have third parties to deal with. They have lots and lots of rules and regulations. Do I shoot? Do I not shoot? Do I help these people? Do I not help them? I do believe at the last one I had a visitor from the Home Office who wanted to be shown around a zone where an IED had been detonated or a weapon of some description had been detonated. So yeah, that's kind of realistic, and that's about as close as I've ever got to it. Now, obviously, as a media person, a drone would be a good idea, I think, if you can get the good ones with the brilliant cameras that can look down and actually create some good angles and get some good footage. I think that is a great idea. I wouldn't still want to get a drone shot at, but because it's not being used as an active combatant in a fight, then I don't see an issue with that. So yeah, I'd love to hear your opinions on these things, because we all know now that drones are pretty much here to stay. They are becoming a lot cheaper and a lot more numerous, and there's a lot more rules coming in of places you can and cannot fly them. Airsoft sites might be a little bit different in, it's not, you can't fly them obviously down a street, you can't fly them over your neighbour's house, but in an airsoft site, you might get away with it. However, my memory does serve me correctly. I do recall someone who did bring a drone to a airsoft match at Lincolnshire Airsoft Club, good 3 or 4 years ago now, and he got it stuck in a tree. This tree was about 30, 40 foot in the air, and this drone's at the top of it. He got it stuck. I can't remember if he got it down. I presume he got it down. Whether it worked or not when it landed, I don't know. But that is the downside of flying a drone in a woodland environment. So yeah, that question is, would you guys, would you be happy to play in a match where a drone is being used in an active weapon system or a reconnaissance device, so it's able to beam your position straight to the enemy without you having any ability to stop it whatsoever? So yeah, would you be happy with that? So yeah, that will give you something to mull over, something to question, something to think about. I'd love to hear what your answers are on this. So yeah, if you have an answer, an opinion on drones in airsoft, please feel free to drop them under this YouTube page, on the YouTube video even. Put it on the Facebook page. We can talk about this. It's quite good fun to have to listen what other people's ideas are regarding different aspects of airsoft. So I'm CraftySniper. I'm going to leave you guys to mull that one over, and I'm going to love reading you comments like on this one. So yeah, I will see you guys at an airsoft field very, very soon.